Yeah, what were you bitching about, EFN?
That anything that I bring up of that my kids are going through, and I ask you guys are like, oh, I never went through that. Didn't happen. Even like with even my family was in town from LA, and my cousin, I have my godson who's 12, and she's like, I'm telling her about my kids having mood swings or whatever, or meltdowns, and she's like, oh, I never went through that with him. He was an angel. And I'm like, fucking everybody that has kids that are a little older, their kids never did shit. They didn't do this. They didn't get sick. They didn't get it. They were fucking perfect angels. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
You good?
So anyways, you good? I'm talking about like, if anybody listening out there that actually has normal lives, that can remember the shit they've been through or in the trenches, let me know if your kids have chronic congestion and if you've figured out why and a cure for it.
It's got to be some kind of allergy, man.
And you took them to an allergist, no? Or was that something else?
No, it was something else.
Okay.
We took them to something else. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm chopping it up to allergies. I've checked for mold. We have all these filters. I don't know. Water's even fucking filtered.
How often do they go swimming?
Not often. I would rather go more than we have.
Yeah.
We've been going lately. Maybe they've gone like twice in the past month, which is a lot. 3 times actually, because they went to a pool party. Which is another thing too. Like,
did you hate that shit though?
Parents with little kids, like kids between the ages of 2 and 5. Why the fuck are you having pool parties?
Yeah, that's pretty dangerous.
Like, it's fucking stupid, man. Like, really. No fucking parent wants to go in the pool with their kids, so they're all gonna be like, it was funny, like these, either it's a pool party or they have a bouncy house with water in it. Even more ridiculous, because the amount of accidents that were happening was ridiculous. So these people, all the parents are all hovering over these kids because, they're little kids and they're all with their floaties, and some swim and some can, some are jumping, and it's like insane, dude. I went to this pool party. First of all, these people, man, I feel like, imagine if this is the one listener we have is the fucking person listening. Motherfucker had tiki torches lit.
Dope. That's lit. That's lit.
Like, are you fucking serious, dude? At a fucking 4-year-old's party, you got tiki torches lit, yo. And what do you think? And they had a bounce house and a pool, of course, both things.
And the tiki torches were next to gasoline tanks.
No, well,
serving alcohol for the parents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're always
nice.
And it's funny because nobody says anything to me. Like, nobody has mentioned drink champs to me with these parents. But it's funny because I'm the one like not trying to drink at these things.
Yeah.
But a tiki torch, of course, fucking lops over and starts to light up the bounce house.
Oh.
I'm the only one that sees it. The only one.
And you just watching the train wreck? Or
no, I fucking run to save the fuck, because all I can imagine is this thing going up in flames. And I run and I fucking pick up the tiki torch. Nobody even notices me. Like, one person noticed me. And there's holes in the bounce house, but whatever. It doesn't. I mean, it fucked up the bounce house, but it still worked. So that happens, right? Boom. Then I'm by the pool, like, hovering over my daughter in there, and they're like, these people's house was on a lake, and they had one of those like umbrellas that's like weighted down with like a water thing.
Yeah.
And they had it over the pool area, and the wind blows that shit onto the kids. My daughter being one of them. This big ass metal umbrella with the fucking weighted water thing all flies into the pool on top of these kids. And I fucking go in there. And this is the only reason why I do CrossFit, to be able to handle this situation. Like, you see like the moms, and I just grab it, and I'm like all in my head. I'm like, for time, like, I gotta pull this weighted thing out
for time.
This is my only use of anything CrossFit I do.
This is my wad for the day.
And then a dad is like, he's like, bro, I watched you save the party twice.
Oh, jeez.
Next time, don't watch. Be a part.
Don't go to those parties.
Ay, Dios mío, that's funny.
There's another pool party coming up now.
Oh,
that's dope. Wait, but your kids swim, right?
No, they're not.
Oh?
No, floaty swim.
Shit.
First of all, my son, I don't want him going in there because no. And then my daughter, he floaty swims.
That's a real Miami thing. Well, I don't want him to go there because like no.
First of all, I didn't do my head like that, all sassy.
It's like literally no.
Hey, okay. Another thing, really quick, guys. I sent this to you in the group text. Nobody said anything, or I think you did, man.
I'm sure I did, but I get ignored, so it doesn't really matter.
What is up with this stupid fucking social media challenge with telling your kids to fight?
So is this the one you sent through where is it the one where the parents say, I'm about to get into a fight, I need you to be ready for backup? And they
they say
or whatever.
I'm about to fight someone that's bringing their kids that's your age. I need you to be ready to jump in if they jump in and fight them. And
it's supposed to be to test their loyalty. Is
right. And then you see some of these kids fucking start crying, dude. Like I'm like, so the challenge is to give them the sense of a fight or flight, like put them through that bullshit. And like what is it saying? Like this is what you're doing to get likes and views. Like this is to go viral, to make your kids fucking, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just don't understand it, man. Like the fuck, dude.
It's irresponsible bullshit is what it is. Cause like, yo, like at the end of if the lesson is loyalty and that's what the length you have to go to see if why do you have to test your child's loyalty to you first and foremost? Because if you got to go that far, then you got other issues you got to deal with. Because
the proudest parents are the ones where the kids are like, yeah, fuck that, let's go. Like, yeah, you're proud, right?
Yeah, that's why.
Just think how sick society is now with because all this social media, like the stuff that people are doing.
No, I can't wait for the Nukem challenge for the generation, the next generation of leaders that are in the presidents of countries and dictators going, yo, Nukem challenge. I just nuked this country. It's just going viral.
So don't put that shit out there. Let's not do that.
Like, come on, man. Like these challenges are dumb. Yeah. And look, I say this as someone that's partaken in some of these dumb things, not in the normal way. I always try to find a way where it's like, I'm really making fun of the challenge, but nonetheless, I'm obviously doing it. So
you basically punched out the other parent first before your kid had to get involved, right?
Like I did the bucket challenge, but I threw the bucket on Eddie Giggs.
Okay.
Without him knowing, and that was the challenge. That's the way I did the challenge.
That's the one with the water, right? For the ALS?
The ice water? Yeah.
I mean, it worked. ALS raised a whole lot of money off that.
I hear you, man, but I've gotten into the conversation and arguments where it's like, and I've been a proponent of how the positive sides of social media for businesses and brands and all that. But I'm starting to understand that I think that there's way more negative with social media and the impact it's having on our psyche, like the human, brain or whatever, and behaviors. I think there's a lot more negative than positive in the long run.
It's something we were talking about. I had a meeting with my old high school counselor and an alumni of my old high school. Shout out to St. Raymond High School in the Bronx. And we were having this conversation around how do you support kids in this generation now, given how significant a distraction social media is, their device in general, right? Having a phone, access to videos, whatever, instantly, and being able to have them understand what opportunities are out there for them when for the most part, all these kids are doing is looking at what they see in themselves in the mirror, comparing themselves to whatever people they follow, and then constantly going back and forth doing that comparison, even subconsciously. So they're kind of stuck in this place and have really very little opportunity to escape that, to understand like, yo, all right, what does being a lawyer look like? Like, let me go look like this really, it's more difficult than even when we were growing up. Because in environments like where most of us grew up, you could at least see people around you, like going to their jobs. You kind of had a feel for what they did. And at a minimum, you had an understanding. Right. Here, they're just right here, trapped. They're not even paying attention to what's going on around them.
Well, you ever wonder why like a lot of the big tech folks and everything, they send their kids to Waldorf schools, expensive Waldorf schools, where they're not allowed to have any kind of TV or screens or anything like that.
Now you got to get into what a Waldorf school is, because that's a relatively new thing I just learned about. I didn't even know that. But yeah, that's a great point. Why do they do that?
Because they know that the kids are better off.
They say it in that documentary. What's that documentary called?
Oh yeah,
social whatever something.
But yeah, the dude says that.
Yo, we're mad helpful.
Just look up the guys from Facebook and Instagram and all those fucking places. It's a documentary.
Google all the words that EFN just said.
And that's the other part of things. Like, there'll be this dope ass documentary with insiders telling you how fucked up the whole shit is. The shit gets a buzz. Everybody's like, great flick, wins an award, and done. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. Nobody gives a fuck.
It's called the social. No, not the Social Network. Sorry, that's not it.
No, that's the wrong one. That's the one that tells us how this all started.
The Social Dilemma. That's the one.
The fact that people have the ability to just like have their own fucking TV show 24/7.
That is the thing, problem, man. That is the fucking problem. Everybody thinks that, and again, it's like, it's kind of weird because it's like, yes, everybody's important, but we've taken this level of like where everybody thinks they're a celebrity and everybody thinks they deserve this airtime, and what they got to say is
taps into the ego and the narcissism of people too. Like that's now the elevated
insane
piece, right?
Yo, but why snitch on yourself? Like,
people don't even see it as snitching. People just think it's like, what this shit is like
entertaining for somebody.
Yeah, look how cool this is going to be.
Not jeopardize my freedom. No, let's not think about that.
I mean, look at all the kids doing crimes on social media. Like they're
live streaming it.
Yeah, doing fucking murders too. Like everything is being broadcasted. I don't think. Oh man, I don't know, bro. Like I tell you right now, I think we're fucked. I really feel terrible for our kids to have to grow up in this bullshit, man. Like shit, fuck that. Take me back to the cowboy days. We're probably better off then. Probably not, but
No,
man, hip hop didn't exist, bro. We'd be worse off right now.
No, so invent it.
So Manny, how do you guys navigate your? She's 15 now.
Yeah.
How nervous are you guys? Or I know she's you know she's got her shit together and everything, but like really, how much are you paying attention in terms of how much time she's spending on the phone and social media and what that stuff is actually doing to her?
We're paying. I mean,
it's a pretty critical age for that kind of influence right now.
It is, and we're not like taking her phone and checking up on what she's watching or anything like that. But we're bringing it up. We're addressing it every time. We're like, yo, you spent your whole day on this shit, or yo, put it down for a minute. You know, like we're making her aware of how long she stays on the phone, and we have conversations. Like it's not. We try not to approach it on some like, yo, you're fucking up type of thing. More so like, yo, pay attention. Look, bring in examples, especially now because we're in the summer. So her level of activity with academics is now at a minimum, right? So now we could go back and say, yo, you remember that period when you was crying because you was so stressed out about school, this, that, and the third? Yo, look at how that escalated. And then we paint the picture for her and she can remember those moments of like, yo, you decided you wanted to spend 3 hours on your fucking phone instead of, going to sleep on time or whatever. So it's really, that's how we approach it. It's just having her acknowledge what it is that she's doing and trying to make it so that it put it into a real world context and the issues that come about as a result of her not just diversifying her time.
Does she have her own social media accounts?
She uses Snapchat, I think, more than anything.
Okay.
And she's got a TikTok account. Yeah. And the kids, that's their text messaging.
And have you guys seen like what she posts? Do you have any idea of like what
she doesn't post?
Okay.
She does like DMs with her friends. Like,
right.
They do this, all of them. They do this stupid shit where they're like,
So it's not public facing. It's just her whole network
her
of.
little clique.
Mm,
And then they kind of, she'll take pictures, but like not of her face, but like of like this part of her chin and her shoulder, or like this part of her head. Like it's not like a normal picture. They just, that's how they play like silly picture shit or whatever. But it is in a closed DM kind of loop.
huh.
We're fucked.
Look, man, it's impossible for us to stop them. So we have to do, in my opinion, we have to do as much work as we can to make them aware and help them understand the pros and the cons of what they're doing. Because to your point earlier, there's some good that comes from this stuff too, but at the velocity and just the rate that our kids are involved in this stuff, it's hyper bad. So we got to figure out like how to pull things. At least that's the approach that seems to be working with my daughter. Like just put shit into perspective and like tease out reality and scenarios, and hopefully they can click and understand it. But her biggest thing, honestly, is watching Netflix on her phone. That's where she probably spends the most time when she's on her device.
That's better.
She is reading a lot, like an actual physical book, as of the last like couple of weeks. So since the summer started for her, which I'm like fucking celebrating every day. Like, how many chapters did you read? Oh my God. Like trying to really keep her in that mode.
Yeah.
She's enjoying it. So helps. Yeah.
Devices, man.
Can we switch a second? Because actually I have
Sure.
something. So all right, just on the entrepreneurial tip. And we didn't talk about it on the pod, right? When I was telling you guys about what Flydad kind of had to go through in the last month or so, where inventory.
Yeah, you told. Well, not on the pod. You told me.
Yeah, I don't think on the pod.
Yeah.
All right, so just for the audience here. So, as you know, we collaborate together, have a company called Flydad, and Flydad's inventory, basically got all of it got sent back to me from our fulfillment center, and it was just some bullshit. But ultimately, all of it came to me, and we were kind of down for 2 weeks. We weren't able to sell anything, and it happened the day before Father's Day. Leading up to Father's Day is Flydad's Super Bowl, right? For obvious reasons. And all that inventory was on its way back. They told me it could take up to 90 days for that inventory to come back to me. So basically, I was like, there's nothing. It was a wrap. And so finally, it started coming in a couple of days. And then, like it took maybe like a week and a half for it to actually get to my house. But then I'm playing offense like crazy. I'm trying to get everything situated, packed, and off to our fulfillment center so that we can get things back rolling. My kids, as soon as I said, here's what I'm dealing with, they rolled up their sleeves and started doing all sorts of work to try to get everything back in rotation.
Nice.
So, but we talked about it with Term last episode. Yeah, that was last episode. All this personal development stuff that I've been working on, like, was the thing that allowed me to think more clearly instead of like panic and like waste time thinking about, this is gonna happen. Oh, nah. It's like, all right, it happened. Now, how do I get back on the horse and do better? So we had a little bit of a vacation. We got to get everything rolling again. But Prime Day just wrapped on Amazon, and we killed on Amazon. So we had 2 record-breaking days on Amazon, which were the 2 Amazon Prime days. So level head, positive attitude, and then support from your kids is the recipe right now.
Nice.
Thank you. Congrats to you guys too. You guys are beneficiaries.
Well, you had to deal with it all.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So outside of sick kids, I mean, Kay.
Well, here's a little
here's a
little story for you.
All right, Rick the Ruler.
So I haven't talked about it much, and you know how I like to keep things under wrap. But anyway, we're moving, right? So, this is the first time doing a move with kid, right? So it's definitely been a lot for him to soak in, saying goodbye to friends and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely been kind of an emotional roller coaster for him. Exciting, but then on the flip side, it's like 1 minute it's exciting, the next minute it's like, oh shit, I'm not going to see this person again. That kind of. It's a little bit different now because you can still Zoom and FaceTime. Feels different than like when we were younger and you move somewhere and it's pretty.
Someone
Feels
can
like a
move
wrap.
across the town and you won't see him again back in the day.
Yeah.
True.
But what was funny is we did we talked about this before, like, and he went through this year, all this whole crush phase, right? He's like, he ended up having a crush on a girl, and that girl also had a crush on him, and they were friends, but then they kind of confessed their crushes to each other. Right. But they handled it really cool because they were both like, all right, well, we both have crushes on each other, but we're also friends, so let's not make it weird, and we'll just that kind of thing.
Right.
And
Nice.
so we're cool with her family, like, and we like her, and they like my son. So it wasn't like a weird thing where it could be, where it's like a parent could be kind of weirded out, like, oh, your son has a crush on my daughter, that kind of thing.
So you gave your blessing, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So it was all good, but
But they gave the blessing.
Yeah.
It's mutual.
So we did a kind of goodbye dinner with them the other night, just so they could hang out for a little bit. So we went and had dinner, and then they went to the park and skateboarded around together and stuff like that. And then at the end, they gave each other a hug goodbye and that kind of thing. And it was real funny wasn't funny, but it was interesting to see just how kind of sad and bummed out my son was afterwards.
Did you shed a tear, Kay?
No. I felt sad.
I feel like shedding a tear over it right now.
I felt sad. I definitely felt emotional about it.
Right.
Watching him, and then just driving away, and she's kind of yelling, "I'll miss you," and he's like, "I'll miss you," and just it was interesting. It's like you're like, damn, just putting myself in his shoes and that feeling of like, oh, he's really gonna miss this person.
All right.
Yeah.
But at least like you said, at least they do have the means to see and communicate.
Yeah. And so we'll facilitate that. But it's just so funny, like when you're, I don't know, when you're older and you're making moves and maneuvering, you don't really think about like it's just like you'll see people when you see them and you keep in touch, but that's not like you're it doesn't feel so final because we're just used to everything being in change and movement and everything. Whereas when you're dealing with kids, especially younger like this, and I mean, Manny, about this from your moving around, but especially just kind of, I've seen him say goodbye to his friends and then, say goodbye to the crush that I could see it tug on his heart a little bit. Sad.
That's tough. But you're right. Like, he's got the means to be able to communicate, which I think makes all the difference, honestly, because whatever, I'll say heartache if that's what it best describes it. But having like FaceTime alone is super clutch. Because I'm thinking about like, and maybe all of you have experienced it, but like when you're young and then you have like some sort of long distance relationship, whether it's like, and I'm saying like an hour away from where you are, right? Nothing like across the country or anything, but even that, like back in the day, it was like, all right, you could call them or you could write letters and shit. And that was kind of like the main mode of communication, but it's still like you're missing a big piece of it. At least here, the face stuff actually will make a big difference. So it'd be interesting to see kind of where this all nets out in a few years.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see like how many of his peoples he stays in touch with via all this.
Yeah,
because when you're fresh in the moment right now, everyone's like, oh, we're gonna keep in touch, yada yada,
Yeah, it's like if you read your yearbook,
Yeah,
what
don't ever
people wrote,
change.
like
Stay
we're
in
gonna
touch.
keep it. Yeah, we're gonna keep in touch. Here's my number.
Right.
Like you don't even know who those people are anymore.
Right.
Speaking of relationships, so my 6-year-old, I think I mentioned this, but my kids have this thing called sibling code. I might have said this a long time ago. So it's kind of their way of having serious conversation amongst themselves and keeping mom and dad out of it. So it's a little nerve wracking because you don't know what's going on, but you try to give them the respect so that they can nurture that bond that they have and foul shit they share. And given that my oldest is involved, like we feel like cool because she'll be able to like, yo, that's fucked up. We got to deal with that or not. But anyway, my 6-year-old is now trying to be a part of this sibling code because primarily it was my eldest too. And so I overhear her telling the other two that she kissed a boy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. So I forget what it was, but she kind of, she said it like puffing up her chest, like, yeah, I kissed. I was like, I caught myself again, just trying to be like, level-headed, don't wild out. And I'm just sitting there like counting backwards and trying not to like get involved. And then I keep hearing her talk about it. And then apparently she wrote, this is how it started. She wrote on a piece of paper, I love whatever this kid's name is.
Oh, wow.
And then my oldest saw it and she loudly said, what do you mean, blah, blah? And she's like, yeah, I kissed him or whatever. And so I'm texting my wife feverishly, like, you better go downstairs and handle that shit. Because I don't know if I go over there, it's going to be a problem. Fucking Hiroshima's about to blow up in this bitch. And she didn't come down, but she was like calling her, like, what is it, blah, blah. Yo, my daughter lies. My 6-year-old lies. She's like, no. And then she quickly, so they were all in cahoots. My oldest ripped a piece of paper out of her notepad, threw it in the garbage for my youngest. The youngest writes some random shit on the paper, and she's like, no, we were just talking about me. I eat boogers on a piece of paper, and they were saying, ew. Like, yo, she put herself on Front Street, but for some other shit so that she could get like, less in trouble or whatever. And I'm like, my wife's, they're talking, and I'm texting my wife. She's lying. I heard paper rip. Blah, blah, blah. I'm giving her the play-by-play. And then it all comes to a head, and I find a piece of paper, and I show it to she brings it upstairs. We have the young one bring it upstairs, and she uncrumbles it, and then we're like looking at her, and she's like, yeah, I lied.
Oh, man.
But she's looking for every which way to try to get back in good graces now. And then, my wife was heartbroken because, trust, right? Like,
right.
You want to make sure you maintain that at the highest level.
The lying that's always a tough one, man.
6 years old. And the whole circumstance, like,
yeah,
boy, you got I love you on a piece of paper. You don't even know what the fuck that is. Like, all this shit. And at the end of it all, I'm like, all right, it happened. How do we react in this moment now? Because if you start to wild out,
did you do the same thing to your son where now your daughter has to write I will not lie on
no, I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there yet because with my son, it was like every day for like 2 weeks. With her, this is like the first time we actually catch up a lot. Yeah. So it's like, so you got to temper everything. You can't I can't go out the window about the relationship thing. Right. I can't really get on her case about the I love you, no. And we got to make sure she understands how serious the lie piece is. But I can't kill her for it. So we really had to play mental ninja with each other to figure out like the best prescription for it. And ultimately we just kind of made her understand how serious the lying piece was. And that's where we focused. And my wife wouldn't talk to her for a little bit too, just to make her understand how serious it was. So
what about your older daughter? Like, she lied too.
She did. But, we kind of looked at her like disappointed and was like, yo, you can't do that shit. But again, their bond, we don't want to disrupt that either. So having her feel like she really fucked up and this because of what it was, we were like, all right, we got to, again, put things into perspective a little bit. What do we want the outcome to be in the future? We want her to protect her siblings, but also measure the circumstance and then do the right thing. In this one, it was a little mild, but we kind of gave her a little bit of shit, and then we just, put it to bed. How about you, E? What if that happened in your house, E?
Nah, dude, I can't. Think about that. Nah, like the other day, my daughter said something about like, we bathe both the kids together in the tub, right? And she said something. I wasn't there. She said it to my girl that some kid, a little kid in her school, has the same thing as my son. Same private part.
Oh damn.
Oh yeah.
And then my girl was like, what? Like, how do you know this? And she's and the thing with my daughter is that when, like, if you react a certain way, she shuts down.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you gotta like, and the thing is, naturally we'll react to something, and she kind of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, But basically, what it seems like happened is that she was in the bathroom in school, and the kid went into the wrong bathroom because they let the kids go into the bathroom by themselves. I mean, it's open. Like I've been there. Like it's not. It sounds crazy, but whatever. But that was the only thing I've ever been worried about in this school was the freedom of the kids going to the bathroom. Like while you're there, you see the kids just go to the bathroom, and apparently, like maybe the kid went to the bathroom, into the wrong bathroom, and started like next to her or whatever. I don't know, something like that happened. Yeah. But yeah, I'm like, what the hell, bro? Like all I'm thinking about is these little kids. Like, look at mine. That's what I'm thinking,
Because that's how you were.
Stupid. Well,
yeah.
No, I was gonna... but yeah, I don't know, man. That's scary. That part is scary.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Just got to deal with it as best we can without losing our minds.
But your sons did when they were little kids, because this is natural, yank on their joint all day, right? Like
not all day,
like when you're changing their diaper, they're like whenever it's like out, they're like grabbing it, like, right? That's
yeah, because they don't know what the hell it is.
Because you start telling me like, no, I didn't have to either.
Nah, they're discovering their junk. So
right.
Something to grab. What is it?
Yeah, my son's hilarious.
When I grabbed
you're gonna kill yourself, man.
All right,
man. Let's go back and suffer.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself, bro. I'm not doing that.
Hey, I'm going back to Disney.
Woo! We got to talk next episode, y'all. You heard that.
We'll talk about
It'll be very interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
All right, brothers. Peace.
Later.